Now to the political standoff in Washington over the so-called fiscal cliff. The president made the first move, and congressional Republicans were none too pleased with the offer. Now the president's point man in the negotiation says it's the Republicans' turn. NBC's Mike Vaquera is at the White House tonight with more. Mike, good evening.
Good evening to you, Lester. The president is demanding higher tax rates for the wealthy. Congressional Republicans want deeper spending cuts and entitlement reform. After that post-election talk of compromise, now it's turned into another Washington standoff. Today, administration optimism for a deal, but only if Republicans give in on raising rates for the wealthy.
You think we'll get a deal by the end of the year?
I do. The only thing that stands in the way of a deal right now is if a group of Republican members decide they're going to block a deal because they want to extend tax cuts we can't afford for the wealthiest 2% of Americans.
But House Speaker John Boehner dug in. No rate rises on anyone.
Well, the president's idea of a negotiation is roll over and do what I ask.
Boehner says the president's opening bid, brought to GOP leaders by Geithner, is a non-starter.
I was just flabbergasted. I looked at him and said, you can't be serious.
Included in the offer, $1.6 trillion in new revenue, twice what was on the table in last year's failed grand bargain, and $600 billion in spending cuts, much of it from Medicare. Not nearly good enough, say Republicans, who insist the president show more of his hand.
The White House keeps spiking the ball on tax increases for the wealthy, but it's not yet been forthcoming on real entitlement reform. And without the two, there really is no deal.
For now, the sides are far apart.
What are the chances we're going to go over the cliff?
There's clearly a chance.
With time running out, many on both sides say the time for posturing is over.
At a certain point in time, we have to quit playing to the cheap seats in politics. And frankly, that's really what we're waiting on now. It's a game of chicken to put the painful stuff out there.
And Lester, one solution that keeps coming up, actually going over the cliff, call it the inertia scenario. Instead of voting to allow rates to rise on the wealthy before January 1st, the idea is to let the rates rise, then come back early in the month for a vote on cutting taxes for everyone but the wealthy, something that Republicans may be more likely to go along with. Lester.
Mike Vaquera at the White House tonight. Thanks.